In this week's Parshat Tetzaveh, we are told that Moshe is to appoint Aaron and his four children to be the Kohanim, the priests, the representatives of all of Am Yisrael from that moment on. And the question I think was asked, but it's a very powerful question, I think, is why did Aaron merit to become the priest and to have that forever be as opposed to Moshe? We know Moshe was the greatest prophet that ever was, and he was the leader. We look at him as the leader par excellence of the Jewish nation. And someone might want to say, well, that was his job, and this is the job that Aaron got. But really, I don't believe that's the case because it really was Moshe and Aaron were a partnership from the plan B because Moshe refused when God told him to be the leader and to go and to speak to the people. And Moshe insisted that the people won't listen to him and that he can't speak, that he's not equipped for speaking. And he said over and over again how he did not want to go. He didn't have faith that the people would believe in him, and he didn't have faith in his speech. And finally, God told him to go to Aaron, and Aaron would be his mouthpiece. And Aaron, we're not told, didn't say no, not for a moment. Not only that, he went out to meet Moshe and to greet Moshe. And he happily took the job of saying whatever it is Moshe thought he couldn't say and representing the people. And not only that, we see Aaron, we know Aaron, there was nobody like Aaron in terms of love for his fellow. And the way he loved the nation was with all he had and with leaving any judgment aside. We see, unfortunately, Moshe, despite his greatness, getting mad at the people. We're told specifically at the Cheder Egel that his anger flared up and that he dropped through the tablets from his hands. And he was angry. And when he went and saw what happened, Aaron even said to him, when Moshe said, what'd you do? Why'd you bring these people to sin? Aaron said, do not let your anger flare up. So twice we're told. First, we're told that he became angry, and then Aaron said, do not let your anger flare up. Aaron never displayed anger. And not just that, Aaron understood. His response was, he told him what happened, and he said, you know this nation is disposed to evil, Barahu, and that they had this predisposition. This is what the people were as part of their fiber and their fabric. And Aaron, he worked the best he could to represent, to help and aid the nation with all the tools that he had to the best of his ability, no matter what. He knew who they were. He loved them anyway, despite the Ra that he saw, that he knew existed. He didn't fault them, judge them, want to cast them aside. He wanted to work with them. And he told Moshe, what do you want? These are the people. And he loved them despite all that. And the fact that Aaron never got angry at the people, went very willingly to represent them from the start. I mean, there was no man. God chose Moses as the leader, and he did it under extreme pressure. Aaron was willing to fill in the gaps, to do whatever it was, to be there for the nation, and his unwavering love was something that he had. And this is a difference. So, despite the fact that Moshe was a fantastic, phenomenal leader of the people, and he was the closest to God anybody was, that's not something that you pass on to your children. That was something that he had cultivated between him and God alone, a relationship with God. But what Aaron had, it ben adam l'chavero, of how he treated the other person, how he viewed the nation, how he loved the nation, how he wanted to be there and help them no matter what. That love was shown and seen by his children, inculcated into his children in a way. That's the way he reared them, to love your fellow and to help your fellow, and was part of their upbringing, became part of their learned behavior, part of their DNA. And so this is what God said, this is what merits to be the priests of the people. Because what are the priests? Just there to be a representative, to help the people when they come, to get closer to God, to repair whatever it is, whatever ailments they have that are not just some of the physical ailments, but the emotional, psychological, any problems they had. The Kohen was there to talk to them, to care for them, to love them, to help guide them back to themselves, to God, to the people. And that was what Aaron knew how to do. And that was something that not he lived and perpetuated through his children. And that is why he merited that. Him and his children would in perpetuity be the representatives of the people. And unfortunately, the greatness that Moshe had is not something that's inherently passed down. Uh, Becoming close to God and a prophet in God is something that each individual does on their own. And that's not something he could pass on to his children or to their children's children. That is something that each person has their own potential and ability and obligation to do the best that they can, with guidance, of course, but not something that can really be taught, but something that has to be sought. And with that, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.